I call to order the Murray City Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, May 21st, 2026. It is 6:34, and we'll begin our meeting. All right, for planning commissioners here this evening, we have Aaron Hildreth, Jake Pearson, Katie Rogers, Peter Kling, and myself, Ned Hacker, excused. Our Pete Hirstro, and Michael Richards. So staff here this evening, Zachary Smallwood, David Rogers, Ruth Ruock, and Mark Richardson. So only reminder is if you have a cell phone with you to put it on mute. I've done mine, and that's it. So first agenda item, approved meeting minutes from May 7th. Have commissioners had opportunity to review those? And if you have any comments, take those. All right, then I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I motion to approve the minutes for May 7th, 2026.
All right, I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, approved. Item number 2, are there any conflicts of interest in any of the agenda items this evening?
No.
No.
I don't have any either. Agenda item number 3, approval of the findings of fact and conclusions, of which we have 2. One is Madeline Mash subdivision, single boundary adjustment, and LV Auto conditional use permit. Have everybody had an opportunity to review those?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Any issues with it? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the findings of facts for Madeline Mass subdivision, subdivision amendment, and LV Automotive conditional use permit with the changes we talked about in the pre-meeting.
All right.
Second.
All right. Have motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Approved. And our 4th agenda item, Little Learners Daycare application. The applicant is here. I'll have you come up after Ruth Ruock gives us a staff review. Ruth? Can you raise her microphone a little bit?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, this is a request for conditional use permit for a commercial daycare at 4511 South 600 East. The applicant is proposing to use the existing building to bring in a commercial daycare. So the property is on a 0.29 acre site with a 2-story building on the southeast corner of 4500 South and 600 East. It's within the GO general office zone, and it's bordered by residential properties to the south and east, or south and west, and commercial and office spaces to the north and west. So the proposal is to utilize the existing building footprint. They are planning to make some minor adjustments to the inside of the building to meet state child care standards. They are hoping to have 50 children and 5 staff members. And inside, you can see in the layout that they'll have rooms for infant care, after-school rooms, a media room, and here's also the site plan. They've also designed a miniature playground on the northeast corner of the property, which will be enclosed with a fence. So for our parking and landscaping requirements, 1 parking stall per staff member is required, also with 1 parking stall for every 5 students. And so with 50 children and 5 staff members, 15 parking stalls are required. And the property already has 15 parking stalls. We will be double checking for compliance for parking annually during their business license renewal. And then for landscaping requirements, there are some existing shrubs and landscaping along the front of the building. But to fully comply with landscaping requirements, they will have to add a few additional shrubs and 3 trees along each frontage along 600 East and 4500 South. 16 notices were mailed. We just received one inquiry about the proposed business and also a nearby state-established group home. So staff found that the proposed commercial daycare is allowed in the GO zoning district, subject to conditional use permit approval, and with conditions as outlined in the staff report, the proposed use and property will comply with the standards of the land use ordinance, and the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding neighborhood and its business environment, and is not contrary to the Murray City General Plan. And so staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve a conditional use permit to allow commercial daycare at the property address 4511 South, 600 East, subject to these 6 conditions. And we're happy to take any questions.
Any questions for staff?
I have a question. Ruth, could you tell us more about the public comment or the phone call? that you
Yeah,
got?
so there is, we received a phone call from a neighbor that mentioned a nearby group home along 600 East. It's a state-established group home. We don't really have any control or oversight over it. I think they were just calling to make that known and might have some concerns about it, but again, we don't have any oversight of that.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? All right, I'll have the applicant come forward to the podium and state your name and your address for our meeting minutes.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Your name and your address.
Okay. My name is Saran Kaba. My address is 4588 South Cape Ridge Lane, or the business address. Which one? I'm not
Doesn't
sure.
matter.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, have you had an opportunity to review these conclusions?
Yes.
And are you able to comply with them?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add to the staff report?
No, I think I'm okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Are you currently, or have previous experience operating a daycare center?
Yes, I currently have one in West Valley City.
So this is an additional one?
Yes.
Did you, one of the comments that we had from before the meeting was regarding this group home that was nearby. I don't know if that makes any difference to you or if that's an issue for a daycare.
Well, no, because I have a group home too, so yeah, it's a separate thing. Usually group homes, they have like 24-hour supervision and they are always excluded, like, you know, they are in their zone. So there are staff there to take care of them. So I don't think it will conflict anything. And daycares as well, we always have staff there and doors are always locked. Yeah.
Right. So the city and the planning commission won't go into depth as far as what the state requirements are for a daycare. You probably know that pretty well from your previous one. Anything that you see with this current property that might give the state reason to give you a hard time?
No, well, actually, I have had my current licensor go check the place before moving forward with anything.
All right.
Yeah.
Does it matter in a daycare if you don't have an elevator and you're not ADA compliant?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, because even my current daycare that I have is not ADA compliant. We don't have wider doors for wheelchair.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
Anything else from the commissioners? All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll open meeting for public comment. We already got one public comment from Ruth. No time? All right. Seeing no public comment, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the commissioners for any discussion or for a motion.
Chair will make a motion that the planning commission approve the conditional use permit to allow a commercial daycare at the property addressed 4511 South, 600 East, subject to the 6 conditions.
All right, I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, is there any additional comments? Then we'll take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Pearson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hildreth?
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers?
Yes.
Commissioner Kling?
Yes.
Chair Hacker?
Yes. All right, congratulations. Look forward to seeing your daycare on 45th. Welcome to Murray. All right, our next agenda item is Gallery of Flex Townhomes, and we're going to do agenda item 5, 6, and 7. Is the applicant here? Yes. Good job. We'll have you come up later. And we're going to get a staff report from David Rogers.
Thank you, Commissioners. So this is a request for conditional use permit, design review, and subdivision approval for a mixed-use townhome project in the Murray Central Mixed-Use Zone at the address 4950 South Galleria Drive. So this is a 1.34 acre site. There's going to be just over 7,000 square feet of commercial, 7,385, and it is planned to have 20 townhome units. This area is located within the MCMU zone, and everything around for a while is also located in the MCMU zone, with some multifamily to the west and the I-15 corridor right next to it. So this is the overall site plan. Here you can see the two buildings, each of which is planned to have 10 units. 19 of the units will have the same floor plan, with one unit having a different floor plan. You can see the access, the parking stalls, the dumpster, and the trail on the north end of the property. So here are those floor plans. You can see that there is designated parking for the residences within the garages inside of these townhomes. And then there will be commercial space adjacent to Galleria Drive as well. All of them are planned to be 3-bed, 5-bathroom with just under 400 square feet of commercial space per unit. Here's the preliminary plat. So all of these are going to be subdivided into their own units, thus the preliminary subdivision that we're doing today. For landscaping, the requirement for landscaping is that 15% of the overall site be covered in landscaping, which they do exceed. They also exceed the required number of trees and shrubs. Our code allows, if there is an abundance of a larger shrub, that can cover for the smaller shrub, and they have an abundance of 5-gallon shrubs. The landscaping plan, however, will need to be updated at the building permit level because our code states that street trees need to be spaced between 30 and 40 feet apart, which are not shown here, but which can be reasonably done. So we've made that a condition of our approval that the street trees meet our landscaping code, and that is the only change that we require for the landscaping. For access, vehicular access to the site is provided from Galleria Drive. There's a drive aisle that does it's a really long horseshoe, but you can get to it from 2 different ways on Galleria Drive in both directions, so you'll be able to go through without having to turn around or do anything like that, and that access is 24 feet wide. Pedestrian access comes via a sidewalk that's on Galleria Drive, a sidewalk that goes between the two buildings, and the 12-foot trail on the north end of the property. The applicant will need to work with the city to make sure that the trail connects to the trail that has been approved on the adjacent property. And the sidewalk that goes between the two buildings is currently 4 feet wide. This code specifically calls for adequate pedestrian circulation, and staff doesn't feel that the 4 feet meets the spirit of that code. So we're going to work with the applicant to widen not the space between the buildings, but the sidewalk so that it allows for more adequate pedestrian circulation. For parking, the requirement is 78 spaces, 53 of which need to be designated for residential and 25 of which are commercial. The applicant does have 78 parking stalls with a sufficient number dedicated to residential. And you can see I included the little the garages there that shows how the commercial or the residential parking will be. So for building materials, the building will be flat roofed with varied architectural features on all the elevations generally. Materials include faux wood siding, gray brick, and stucco with different accents. This is the east, facing east. The code stipulates that any building with a setback between 15 and 18 feet must have a recessed entrance. These are at 15 feet, And so the applicant is not currently showing any of the entrances on Galleria Drive as recessed, and they'll need to slightly tweak the plans to add that recess ahead of the building permit. So these are some additional renderings that were provided. And then we have these ones. And then we have these ones to give us a full view of the proposed project. So 44 notices were mailed to property owners within a 300-foot radius and to affected entities for the subdivision, preliminary subdivision. Affected entities include any utilities as well as various municipalities around. And as of the date of this presentation, staff has received no comments. For our findings, based on our analysis, the proposed subdivision complies with the standards of the subdivision ordinance. Land use 1143, which are housing units, is a conditional use in the MCMU zone, which is why we're asking for conditional use permit approval. The proposed subdivision is in harmony with the purpose and intent of the general plan, providing additional opportunities for appropriate residential and commercial development in the area. And with the conditions outlined in the staff report, the proposed development complies with the requirements of the Murray Central Mixed Use Zone and other applicable standards of the land use ordinance. So, based on a thorough analysis and putting together our staff report, staff recommends the Planning Commission vote to approve design review, conditional use permit, and subdivision approvals for the Galleria Flex Townhomes development on the property located at 4950 South Galleria Drive, subject to the following 14 conditions, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, will applicant come to the podium and give us your name and your address for our meeting minutes?
My name is Matt Snade, 5143 South Chinook Way, Murray, Utah.
All right, and have you had an opportunity to review these conditions?
I have, yep.
And are you be able to comply with them?
Yeah, these are all pretty straightforward, so I appreciate the staff working with us over the last few months to get it to this point.
All right. And do you have anything else to contribute for the staff report?
Mostly just to answer your questions, we're excited. It's a unique product that we've seen done in slightly different ways throughout our different cities and also different states that have been pretty successful. We're excited to bring something new to the market that we think is underserved, which, you know, there's going to be a lot of units coming in this area. And so we thought this approach, not competing with apartments, not competing with townhomes, and catering to small business owners, which Utah is one of the leaders of small business owners. We think this is kind of a perfect product where you don't have to go buy a house and go buy, you know, a commercial space. You can do it all in one spot in a nice growing hub. So we're excited to hopefully get it approved.
All right. Are there questions from the planning commissioners?
Yes, thank you. I was curious, so you've done a lot of research on this kind of project. I was curious, what do you anticipate based on your market forecasting of the kinds of businesses that would, so the owner would live there and the businesses there? Or?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the idea. There's been a handful of different versions of this in Park City that was catered more towards car storage and office use for some of those second homeowners that are working away from their hometown. There's been some more vacation-oriented ones in like Havasu, and then there's been some more like this up in Idaho. The reason we like this zone is that not many cities have gotten to the point that you guys have as far as getting your code to a place where it's, you know, more, I guess, form-based and less restrictive. And so there's very few zones in the entire state that allow us to do what we're doing here, which is why I think it'll sell well. We don't have a ton of units. This is kind of like call it a case study for us to see if this has a high use, but everything else that's been like this does one or a couple of the components of this, but not all of this. So we think that there'll be quite a bit of demand just because there's virtually no supply. It's a little bit of a risk, but as you know,
Do you think, would you describe, how would you characterize it? It's not a townhouse, but it's an apartment with a commercial space?
I think it's easier to just call it a townhouse with a really big garage and multiple uses, right? Because people get confused about it. But it's a townhouse with a really large garage that can have, you know, more cars, less cars to own. And, you know, we have our required parking and our commercial space, but it allows flexibility for a lot of different types of businesses. And it's a wild guess because I think it'll fall under a lot of the uses that you guys have permitted in this zone. And so, yeah, I could just see an array of small businesses in here, you know? Ideally, you know, if there's a plumber that has like a little box truck and all his supplies in there, or a furniture maker, or someone that's selling like, you know, supplements and needs stocking of all of their supplies to ship out, if they do that themselves, it just would fit for a lot of places where we can get that height for a lot of uses and
Is this type of product
storage.
usually positioned for ownership or for rental?
For ownership, yeah.
For ownership.
Yeah, the idea, and again, we can't predict the future, but the idea is to live in the place that you work instead of having to drive across town and get two mortgages. Ideally, where these will be priced is cheaper than a townhome and a warehouse.
Thank you.
Are there any particular kinds of businesses that you would expect?
Not really. In a perfect world, we'll start marketing these and get a waiting list and curate the tenants to be compatible with each other, right? We're in a slow market right now. We don't know. We're planning for the worst, hoping for the best. But whatever that feedback comes back to be, if we have a waiting list, we will try to create some consistency of the type of uses, but also allowing it so it's like they might be compatibly oriented businesses with different product or offerings, but a similar customer base. The worst case scenario is it stays like a slower market that it is, and you know, they'll come in and we'll take them as they come for what permitted uses are in the area.
So we got 4 parking stalls for each unit, 2 in the garage and 2 outside. Is that enough, do you think?
We think so. Yeah, I think with what this is and how they're gonna be using it, that there's parking and commercial use. And I think that most of those, any other type of unit that is offered throughout the city doesn't have more than 2 indoor garages. So we think that's at least comparative or better than a normal situation. We don't see many of these businesses being customer facing where they're having, you know, clients come in and out constantly or having an overload of people all at once.
Did you just say that you don't expect
I
that?
don't expect that, yeah. Yeah, it's more geared, and those people won't come here because of the parking ratio and seeing it. And if they, you know, have that and we tell them this is what your ratio is, they may not qualify or get, you know, approved by you guys, and or we'll just say it's not a good fit.
You mentioned you've seen this in other markets. Were these other projects of yours in other markets?
No, none of our projects, just other people that we've kind of researched for.
Okay.
Yeah, we just have seen a need for this, but no zoning that allows it, so.
Thank you.
2 more. We had a pretty good discussion about this item in our pre-meeting.
For sure.
One thing we didn't talk about is signage.
Okay.
Do you foresee signage on these?
Yeah, we hope to have that. I know there was one approved around the corner that had some signage. I think there is a value add to this project being up against I-15 and having some type of signage. You know, people pay for billboards. So for us, that's a value add item for a small business to get some marketing that way.
So I don't know if there's a sign, is there a signage in these
There should be. I think in the very last submission, we added it, yeah. Yeah.
Eleven.
It was right there. They're just
Yeah.
kind of small.
Yeah. So it's down below. Ideally, you know, we could, you know, in a perfect scenario of what I wanted to do, I wanted to be up top above I-15 and all that. I don't know if that's applicable or doable that's the ideal situation. We put it down low just to not be as bad, but I don't know what your guys' view on that is. But I think from a owner standpoint, they would like it up higher, but down below looks a little bit better.
I don't know what the city code might say
Yeah,
about that.
for sure.
I know what UDOT.
And I'll just say that, you know, the signage, that's just an example, right? We haven't reviewed the signage against the sign code. So we would have to look at the sign code and see what's in there. But they would be allowed to have signage, and there are provisions when you are next to an interstate for different height variations. That's what I would say at that point.
Neon?
Hey, Zach, while you're up there, can you go to the floor plan slide?
Going the wrong way, I think. Nope, I was going the right way. Holy moly.
There was one, right?
There we go.
Okay. So I just have a question about this. So if I'm looking at this, the bottom floor, that commercial portion that says commercial in white,
Yep.
that's what's counted towards the square footage, correct?
Correct, because you guys have those ratios for parking and everything. So we tried a couple different iterations of parking for each unit, and it gets tricky because we can't guess the market, right? And I think as we build this, if we were to see more ratio of people wanting more commercial versus more residential, we would probably resubmit at that time before finalizing everything. But this is, in our mind, the parking plan and ratio of commercial versus non-commercial that would meet the largest portion of the market.
Okay, and then help me picture this, because the doors are not shown here.
Okay.
Where is the door entry to the commercial space?
It would be that little notch out on the bottom one, that little kind of jog at the top, I guess. Do I have a mouse? No. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so this door would be here. And on this one, we didn't show it, but probably right up against this side over here.
But what about from the outside of the building?
Sorry, say that again?
From the outside of the building?
Oh, so from the street side of the building?
Yeah.
Or the outside of the
how
building?
is it-
Okay, so that would be, which way, I'll guess here. So we'll have elevator served down the center here, so that heavy, big items, because it is tall, right? That's a very long way to walk. So for move-ins, move-outs, heavy things, people that don't like climbing stairs, we do have this center-served elevator that goes to this more, call it garden-style exterior entry to the true front door of the residential. So, front door, which we'll end up recessing for the commercial space, call it, in the garage, and a front door for the quote-unquote residential space.
Okay, so down below, I'm seeing doors. That is for the commercial space.
Yeah, that goes into, not the commercial space, the garage. We'll call that the whole garage.
Okay, so if we go back to the floor plan, where is that door at? That's what I'm not picturing here.
Yes, so it's gonna be tucked here on this one, which way are we facing? Heck, as long as he's got north-south here. So that is west, this is east, yes. So there'll be a door here and a door here.
So the door would walk into the garage.
Correct.
So
And then you go up to the stairs that jog back and forth, and these stairs go up to your unit. Which is pretty similar to a normal townhome. You walk into a front, either the garage or the mudroom, and then go up to all the living space.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, I own this place.
Yeah.
I have a business.
Yep.
Right? Someone comes to my business. How do they walk into this commercial space?
They would use that same door, so
They would
that,
walk into my garage.
they'd walk into that main level area.
So, sorry, Matt, I do not mean to speak for you. So if you look at these elevations, Jake, you can
Yes.
see that on the road on the back side.
Yes.
So this is not Galleria Drive. The one on the top is not Galleria Drive. On the
Right.
back side, every single unit has both a man door and a garage door.
Yes.
And then on the other side, most of them just have man doors.
So we have no floor plan that I can see that commercial entrance.
Yes, I apologize.
Is that
I had it
correct?
flipped. So, but there is one for commercial and one for residential.
So,
So every commercial unit, so on both of these, you're correct that it's not shown, but every single unit has a door into their commercial side that's located on Galleria Drive, even if they don't have a big garage.
okay. I get that. Where would that be on this plan? That's what I want to be pointed out here.
Yeah, I agree. Let me go. Back.
Like, are you saying at the top of these, there's gonna be a door right there where your mouse is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Could you just show us the elevation of the 3 stories of the finished building? Just want it, yes, either one of those.
Okay.
So the living space, the living space is these 3 levels?
Yep.
Okay. I see. So there's a bedroom or on the 2nd floor and bedrooms on the 3rd floor and then
Yeah.
let's see.
Go back to that. So you have your first level, then you
Uh-huh.
walk up to a big open great room with a
Yeah.
kitchen, dining, living. You
Right.
go up to the next level where you've got all your bedrooms, master, 2 bedrooms with a shared bath. This is a master, and this is actually a master as well, and then a hall bath and laundry. And then this is kind of a crow's nest, kind of extra family room, living room up top.
Okay.
That accesses a west deck and an east deck.
I had a question about the flex space status on this. So these
Yeah.
are flex space units for sale, right? Would I be able to knock this wall down and park a trailer back there?
Yeah, so that's what we've talked about a lot, about how we classified and got to this point. The idea is that they can have use of that, but what we agreed upon and kind of we'll get to the final design is not, not being able to do that, or if we get a list of people of what their uses are, we would finalize that plat to that ratio that we're guessing right now. But this is our idea, is to not knock that down so that we keep it that way.
So would that be something you bake into the CCRs, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we talked a few ways of doing it, whether it's platted, CCR, or whatever. In my experience, it's probably a CCR thing, because if things were to change over time and the market change where there's demand for different type of uses, the idea that I think they'd come back to redo the CCRs and get those accepted by you if they wanted to shift walls around. I don't anticipate that, but that would probably, in my mind, be the easiest way for compatibility, but also for you guys for enforcement.
Can I repeat what I think you said?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure,
Okay.
because I'm not sure I understood. Are you saying that if somebody wants to buy one of these units, but they don't want commercial space, they want to park their trailer there,
Yeah.
that you would change that and then resubmit that for approval?
That's my understanding. I think we've talked a little bit about this, so maybe you can speak better about it, about the process.
No, for sure. So, yeah, if they do come forward and decide they do not want the commercial space, so Galleria is not a principal street. They are not required to have commercial units. So they could take that out and use it purely as a driveway.
So there's
Or,
no commercial requirement because they're not on a primary street.
Mhm.
If they do go forward with this plan and it's designated commercial, then are they required to keep it commercial?
Not necessarily. We don't dictate, in these instances, we don't dictate what's going on inside the building. The floor plans. You guys you can look at them and see what's going on, but we're not saying, you must have 10 feet back of commercial and then,
Okay.
we're not going through and measuring what commercial space is. This is showing what that could be.
Sure. So it allows it, it's not required.
Exactly. So if somebody decides they do not want to use it as commercial, I mean, they could either knock out the wall or they can use it as like a gym or, like a self.
Yeah, okay.
You've probably seen a lot of those 3-story townhomes that usually have like a bonus room or something on the bottom of them.
Yep.
So this actually gives a little bit more flexibility in what they want, because it could allow that commercial space. It could be, just garage space, or it could be.
So, Zach, if they're put signage up,
Mhm.
would any operating business that works out of there have to get a business permit with
Oh,
or
yeah.
without the signage?
I mean, with or without signage, they have to have
Okay.
a business license.
Okay,
Even if it's home-based business.
Yeah, even if it's home, yeah.
right. So it would have to follow the code associated with business permit within the parameters associated with that property.
Correct.
Okay. Have we had other projects like this?
No.
Oh, yeah, this is pretty.
No, this one's very, very unique.
Yeah,
We have had something semi-similar that was not approved. I think that person was trying to get to a point like this, but I don't think it was, it was a much smaller property. Weird to say, this one's just long and skinny, the other one was just very small. But they were attempting to do something, similar.
Can you pull up one of the pictures of the whole property, end to end, that shows the two streets on both sides? On four sides, I guess.
I don't, like a plan view, like this,
Like one of these,
like that maybe?
yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
So my question on here is this, the bottom part of this diagram is the real Germania or Galleria Drive.
The bottom, no.
Yes.
Top is,
Where is I-15 on here?
on the other side.
On the other side of that blue dotted line
Okay.
at the top.
All right.
So you have Galleria right here, and then you have I-15 in these words.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
That's it.
What, I'm sorry, what's the, now we're on the, what's the roadway on the bottom of that?
That's just their access drive. That's how they access the
Oh,
garages and stuff.
okay, all right.
Yep.
All right, good.
Cool.
Any other questions from planning commission? Anything else from applicant?
Nope, thank you.
It's your last chance.
All I can say is we feel excited about it. We took a lot of time to get to this point. Appreciate staff working with us, but yeah, it's always a little bit of a struggle bringing some brand new product to the
Do you
market.
think you'll start this year, or?
Yeah, we, obviously, for time and money costs, I love the process that you guys have here. It takes a little bit more time and money to get to today. But after this, we'll hand off to the architect to go full. We did most of this stuff in-house to this point, besides some civil engineering and getting the professionals to get to this point. But we'll hand it off to them to get everything finalized, to go through the building process and then hit the ground running.
All right.
So I would
well,
say, yeah, break ground, I don't know what the building department's lag time is, but that'll usually take 2-3 months.
First of its type that we've had opportunity to look at and talk to, so thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, any other comments?
I wanted to say to the commissioners, I think this is pretty distinctive, differentiated. I'm not quite sure, housing, residential / commercial. We deal a lot with these homegrown businesses working in existing housing structures, but nothing quite like this that's sort of purpose-built with that intention. So,
I don't know that I've seen anything like this in Utah. I've seen some of this in Oregon. Little different shape, more of community, but all of it was geared around living and commercial in the same structure, same building, if you will, same townhouse. All right, anything else? Okay, I'll open this up for public comment. Any public comment? We get anything? Got nothing from prior to the meeting? Okay. 3, 2, 1, public comment period is closed. And I'll bring it back for any other discussion or a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that the Planning Commission vote to approve design review, conditional use permit, and subdivision approvals for the Galleria Flex Townhomes development on the property located at 4950 South Galleria Drive, subject to the following 14 conditions.
Chair, I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments? All right, take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Hildreth,
Yes.
Commissioner Kling,
Yes.
Commissioner Pearson,
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
Chair Hacker.
Yes. All right, welcome to Murray.
Thank you, appreciate
We'll look forward to watching your development.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, our last agenda item is discussion item regarding multifamily zoning districts. And we're going to retire
minutes.
from this room and reconvene in our Poplar room right next door in 5 minutes. And anybody listening, you can continue to listen and participate in that discussion. I guess you can't really participate other than listening. So we will.
They can talk to the screen, we won't hear them.
We will reconvene in 5 minutes at 7:17. And it's 7:18, 7:19.
Yep.
So we'll reconvene for our discussion about family, no, where is it?
Multifamily.
Multifamily, yeah.
We know
What
you're
is it,
saying.
Ruth? Multifamily zoning districts.
Yeah, so it is, yeah. So thank you guys. Yeah, this is a discussion item on all the RM zones and the R210 zone, which is 2-family dwellings on 10,000 square foot lots. So why we're here, the city council on April, I think exactly a month, April 21st passed a temporary land use ordinance, which is pretty much a moratorium on all multifamily zones, any applications for multifamily zones or any development in said zones. So part of the reason is Murray's largely been developed. We don't have a lot of green space left. We don't have large multifamily parcels remaining. Also, most of our potential growth is gonna come from redevelopment. You guys see that all the time. Most of it is coming from redevelopment of property. So the initial RM zones, or all of our RM zones, were kind of written for a different era. They're more kind of your garden style. They contemplated more garden style apartments. I'll show you some examples here in a minute. Designed for apartment complexes on open land, not really equipped to foster that kind of infill development. So what the code's kind of produced, this is kind of what I was talking about. These are largely just walk-up apartments, right? There's not much in the way of, that's kind of what we allow for in there. However, it has produced some for sale development, but all of that comes through a planned unit development, which adds so many more different things. And also, this is actually in Aaron's neighborhood. It has allowed for.
I know that.
Yeah, right, do you?
I was like, actually.
So there's just a lot of different things that it has done. Again, this was a planned unit development. This property is only 0.12 acres, so I think it's like less than 6,000 square feet. It doesn't look like it. Your house, I think, it is larger because you have the big hill, but a lot of those houses in there are smaller than a typical R18 lot. So some of the issues we had with the RM zone and where we've run into problems in the past is spacing between individual buildings, pedestrian and bicycle accessibility, the measurement of setbacks, especially on very irregular lots. Meaningful open space, I know some of the other commissioners and even the current commissioners have been very concerned with just using just a grassy patch for open space. And then heights adjacent to single family zones. So those 6 things are kind of our main, kind of our guiding principles when we're looking at doing some of these bigger code amendments. I'm rewriting all of it. So top to bottom.
Bless you.
Yeah, thanks. So what we'd like to do, we want to start focusing more on that infill development. And I'm sure you guys have probably heard this term, but missing middle housing. We talked about it a little bit just now, but missing middle housing is kind of in between a single family detached home, which you have here on the left, and our large residential multi-use, mid-rise, 7-story buildings. So you have your missing here where it's duplex, triplex, what's that word? Courtyard building, cottage housing, townhouses, a multiplex medium, and multiplex large. So I wanted to also show what we already have. I only have 3 because spoiler, I was out Monday and Tuesday, so I'm behind a lot today. so I found 3 examples. There's a lot in Murray, but here's some examples. We do have a cottage court in Murray. It's just down the street here on about 5th East. It's my favorite little thing. I never want it to ever go away. Duplexes. This is on Utana Drive. It's mixed in. I specifically made sure I got the single family home in it. Each of the corners pretty much in that neighborhood have just a little duplex that you would never know unless you know that it's a duplex. And then up here,
Where is the duplex on that one?
right here,
Top bottom.
this one right here.
I know, where are the 2 entrances?
Well, the second walkway.
Well, yeah,
leads
so
to-
there's the elevated walkway and then there's one below grade.
Oh, so got it.
Yeah, so this little
one on-
sidewalk.
You're like, I
One
know
on
the
each floor.
duplex instantly.
Yeah.
A residence on each floor.
Right, exactly. And then you have a 4-plex here. This is off of Vine and about 13th East. There's a few of them. There's like 3 4-plexes right next to each other. But you wouldn't really. They don't look imposing. They kind of blend in with everything pretty well.
So sorry, context question. Are we
Yeah.
talking about like adding this kind of stuff to that zoning?
So
Is this what you mean by the middle?
yeah, the missing middle housing. That's what I want to. That actually kind of goes into my next slide here.
Oh.
So the opportunities, right? So we want to find, look at the parking a little bit more comprehensively. That doesn't necessarily mean increasing parking or necessarily decreasing in parking. Just kind of look at it a little bit better. I think basing it on bedroom count is a little wiser. So if you have a studio, do you really need 2.5 spaces, right? Because right now in the RM zone, all of it's 2.5 spaces no matter what.
Okay.
So you could build, I'm not even gonna try to do math, but you could do like 100 studios, you still need 2.5 for that entire complex. Whereas if you build 3 bedrooms, you still need 2.5. So it doesn't really matter.
So that's not rational. You're
I
suggesting.
don't think so. I mean, yeah.
So the projects you showed before, I recognize because they're right along my drive home.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that because almost all the way to Atwood, we have multifamily. And I was wondering about some of the older projects, whether somebody could decide to raise it and then put something even denser. So I don't know if the code, this seems good timing to sort of reflect on that, to think about that. Would this permit, 6 plexes and even larger kinds of things, as it stands now in the code? And so we're trying to think about this missing middle, I guess.
Yeah, and I think what we want to look at, and I hate to, because I don't have the time or skill set to make all of these zones purely a form-based code, but it would probably be something more form adjacent, where we talk about kind of the massing of a building, because that's really what's going to impact the neighborhood, right? And when you're looking at infill, that's what's most important, is making sure that it's blending.
Well, I would think now with the way the markets are, that some of the owners of these 4-plexes and duplexes, they may get tempted to sell to a developer, and then, they could do 4 or 5 stories and do a whole bunch of different things, because it would be profitable for them to do that, to create more density within a duplex.
It depends.
spot.
Yeah, it depends, because overall, the base zoning is what's gonna dictate its density, right? So if you have an acre lot and you're at an RM10, your base density is still 7 units per acre. Doesn't matter, like you can only do 7 units there, it doesn't matter how you configure it. That's the best way I can say it.
We only have the one RM zone, right? RM10's the only one we have?
No, we have 10, 15, 20, and 25.
Oh, okay.
And then all their base densities are 3 less than that. So you're at 7,
I see.
12, 17, and 22.
And they're demo map, sorry.
I can pull one up.
Do you want me to run upstairs and grab the
No,
one?
no, it's actually-
Do that.
That was gonna be my next question, was can we look at where those are at?
Yeah, so
just
what-
picture where we're talking.
And I guess I should have backed up just a little bit. Right now, what I'm doing is kind of just giving you a lot of information. Not a lot, because I'm almost done, actually, with my slides. I wanted to give you kind of where our direction is heading, and elicit feedback on things that you may have seen, or, ask that when you guys are kind of out and about doing your daily lives, kind of be a little more cognizant of what's around and what things you like, what things you don't like. Because right now is the time, especially in these RM zones, I'm writing everything. And so, yeah. But going back to the opportunities, and this is what I wanted to, the last 2 points are the ones that I think are really important. So I want to enable and potentially incentivize smaller scale residential, and look at density bonuses for deed restricted owner occupied housing. So right now, like I've said 100 bazillion times, we have this infill or this incentive density bonus that nobody has utilized. In the 8 years I've been here, Chad only knows of one project, I only know of one project that's
Give an
ever-
example. What would you like to envision?
Well, so for example, let's take that same 1 acre property at 7 units per acre, because it's zoned RM10. If we rewrite some of that density bonus language that says if you deed restrict, either, and I haven't fully fleshed this language out, so it's just kind of spewing. For the first 10 years, let's see, okay, so you're allowed to have an additional 3 units per acre of density if you restrict 50% of these units to be owner occupied for the first 10 years. So that's something that would incentivize home ownership, incentivizes them the developers to build something that gets them, that's kind of the sweet spot, right? Because that gives them higher density, which will offset. And in all honesty, they'll probably build, a lot of them would probably want to build for sale anyway. Murray does have a lot of for sale townhome stuff. And that's what I would anticipate kind of going forward.
I know this is probably getting in the weeds that you don't want to get into.
No, that's fine.
But how would we, so I'm a developer and you say, hey, if you're gonna make these owner occupied for 10 years, then you get to increase the density. That's what you said, right?
Mhm.
Good, okay. So I do that. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And I sell them all. I'm a developer. I walk away. How do we enforce that they're owner occupied?
That's a great question.
Okay, because I could buy one of those.
Yeah.
And you can't stop me from just turning around and renting it.
Yes, I can. On a deed restriction, I sure can.
And I was just gonna say, where I
For
live,
10 years.
I mean, it'd be.
For the whatever the limit is that we agreed
For
to.
deed restriction, you can stop somebody from renting a property.
That's my belief. Do you know anything about deed restrictions? Yeah, it is.
Because I
This
was
is
under the understanding, and I'm not a lawyer, and I don't know any information, that we could not do that in the state of Utah. We could not, or anywhere for that matter, but you could not make a homeowner you can't stop a homeowner from renting their house. Long term.
Go ahead.
Talk about my example, that's
Yeah,
not
that'd be
exactly
great.
the same. So I live in an HOA, that their CCNRs have a provision where you have to be an owner-occupied resident of that unit for at least 2 years before you can rent it. We also have a separate provision within the CCNRs that say only 1/3 of the 99 units are allowed to be rented at any given
Are
time.
those legal?
Yeah, I think they do hold up.
the CCNRs.
It's a legally binding document that I had to agree to.
Well, I understand you had to sign the document, but would it hold up if someone
Yes.
actually challenged?
Because it's a CCNR. You're voluntarily,
Saying I agree to these terms.
yeah, when you're purchasing the property.
There's precedent around the country for that, because when I was in New York, we had those restrictions on co-op and condo apartments that we lived in. You cannot, they're very strict about that kind of stuff, and they held up.
So it is a little different than this body, right? Because the city cannot dictate that stuff in so
But
much.
we're,
Only, we can't, I'm trying to figure out how to say it correctly.
Using the carrot, not the stick,
Exactly, that's exactly right.
So-
We're giving them something to
I
do
see.
that.
You're not,
so
you're not making it
because
impossible.
because the city the city's not requiring it. We're just
Correct.
incentivizing
We're saying we'll give
property
you
to
more.
create the
Yeah.
For them to create the boundaries that we can't create.
Yeah, so it's not like we're coming in and saying all
But
the
there
zoning
is,
has to be.
I mean, Mark can speak this, but there is a legal consideration, because you're giving them the bonus if they're gonna comply with the deeded.
Which is,
You're not just asking them, or you're not mandating it, you're saying, we will do this for you as an incentive if you have this
Yeah, okay.
restriction.
correct, and that is something that cities are given wide latitude on.
So like the homeowners organization, maybe you can't rent it, but you could sell it again
Sure.
And that
before
person
your
would have
10
to
years is up.
Yeah, sure.
comply with whatever.
So yeah, they would go through the same, because it is a deed restriction, it would be called out specifically when you get, you're signing your paperwork.
That you have to be
You would
owner-occupied.
know, I think when you sign something like that, I think that's one of those things where they actually call out and say,
Sure.
this is here, you need to be
The
aware of it.
consequences from violating that wouldn't come from the city, right?
That's a great question. That's TBD, I don't know. This is all kind of new space for the state that's given us latitude to do this. It could result in, I'm assuming it would just be a normal type fine from the city.
So,
Yeah.
so what's to stop, I'm just trying to think through this, but what's to stop the homeowners association to changing it?
So a deed restriction is different than CCNRs.
Because the deed, it's gonna be filed.
It's not an HOA.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That
He
is-
was just giving his example of
Of
how that.
of how it could work. But a deed restriction, so for example, a deed restriction, we placed a deed restriction on, the city placed a deed restriction on the sale of the chapel, for example.
Yeah.
That you cannot like significantly alter the architecture of that building. It runs forever.
Sure.
Without like, I think the city or the RDA's consent or something like that. So that goes forever until both parties sign off and say,
A change.
okay, we'll give it off. Yep.
And they signed that when they bought the property.
So the examples you gave, the actual examples, those are not home ownership, they're all rentals, right?
Right now, those ones are.
So your notion is to incentivize home ownership in a cottage type thing or something like that?
Yeah,
I'll still give you developer latitude that some of the units could be rented because the market may dictate rental versus home ownership.
I think it's balancing both things, right? So on one hand, making any rental product not these very large, out of scale for the neighborhood developments, but then also working towards having more home ownership opportunities as well in these RM zones.
Sorry, I'm still lost in the context. Are we trying to incentivize people taking their single-family homes and turning them into those? Is that what we're trying to do here?
Right now, no. Right now, we are just looking at what currently exists in an RM zone.
So what's the incentive for exactly? To
So-
do what?
So like this thing, what the bonus, the incentive, or like this?
Yeah, like what are we incentivizing people to do exactly? Like to demolish your one story and turn them into duplexes?
Potentially.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just trying to understand what exactly we're trying to do here.
Exactly.
And you said they're all built out, right? Is that what you said?
There's a lot of built out, so it's gonna come from redevelopment. Yeah.
So redevelopment, most likely of some of the ones you just looked at, the existing
I hope
ones.
not, 'cause I-
Well, I know, but
Maybe some other ones.
there's not a lot of vacant land, as you said, to just go put that on.
Sure. This is my last slide, what your initial reactions, priorities, and concerns were. So we're already in.
So we're
There.
Yeah, so I'm
We
just
jumped
gonna-
ahead.
That's our default state.
Right, and I'm gonna pop out of the slide deck for a minute, just so I can kind of show you guys.
Can I ask really quick about the R210 zone? I was looking at it earlier, and it says that duplexes are permitted, but then it also said it's conditional for a PUD. So, okay. It's useless
It'll be
then.
fixed.
Okay.
No, you say there's, and I agree, most of Murray is built out, however, I've seen so many, they're not flag lots, but they might be flag lots that have, they become gated communities.
Yeah.
5 humongous homes in this street that's hardly as long as this room.
Sure.
And people, they don't want a yard. So they have one person to come in, cuts everybody's yard in an hour and a half, and they're done for the week. But there's a lot of that property around still. But they're high-end homes
With no yard.
with no yard. And people apparently want them. I mean, that's why they go to
I'm not gonna
townhomes,
lie.
right?
I prefer it. That's where I kind of want to come home and mow the lawn.
Yeah. But I don't like to come home and have somebody else looking in my kitchen window either.
That's where all the frosting on the windows is.
I'll be curious what you all think of the Cottonwood Creek townhomes of 48 that's intersecting at Van
Yeah,
Winkle.
they're looking good.
They're looking pretty good. Yeah, I live around that
We'll see when
area.
they're all together how good they look.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty dense.
It'd be,
There's
yeah.
not a lot, much setback,
Yep.
from 48 South. But that's kind of where everything is going. Frankly, what was there before was pretty dilapidated. It wasn't really going anywhere.
This is just gonna be the best that I can
I
do.
mean,
Ones on
it's
the
also,
street look really nice.
if I'm looking at homes that are like 8 to $1 million, and like the house I want for 800 to $1 million doesn't exist right now. So the closest thing I can get is a lot of space in like a townhome, I guess. So at least I get more space. It's modern, sure, but I've kind of almost abandoned the dream I'll ever have a house with a yard, like
A
without
single
paying.
family house?
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. And I mean, I'm sure it's possible for some people, but
Depends where you want to live.
You
I
gotta-
want to live here in Murray.
Yeah,
They're all
tough to
over,
do that.
but they're more
You're gonna
than
pay like $1 million.
800,000.
Yeah.
You're paying for it.
Yeah.
So this is kind of, this is our zoning map. So what I think Murray has done, wow, it's echo.
It really does.
What happens, sorry, that really distracted me. We are, one of the benefits I think Murray has is we do have a lot of multifamily mixed in with our single family. Like you don't see a lot of huge swaths, I mean, maybe like here and like here, right? But everything else has little specks of, so all these kind of brownish colors because, everybody hates multifamily, so we make it brown, I guess. You have different RM zones kind of interspersed throughout everything. So I think we've done a really good job of already kind of mixing things in a little bit. But where I'll kind of explain, oh, thank goodness.
It's very noticeable, actually.
Yeah. So I want to look at, I can actually look right here because I was looking at this and I found it fascinating. Again, here's a duplex. This is in the GO zone. Here's our little learner's daycare right there that we just talked about.
That was the person that made the phone call.
But that, you're not really looking for that, are you?
I mean,
Go back to it, go where you were. I mean, that,
scale, maybe.
that could be 2 full-size
Sure.
single-family houses, so there's nothing gained there. I mean, you're losing property as far as I see.
Well, I mean, if this person were to tear this down and build like
Four.
a
Yeah.
fourplex, or, turn it into 4 townhomes for sale, right? Like maybe there's opportunity there.
So the current zoning permits, that's what I was getting at before. Current zoning permits them to do just that, right?
It could, it depends on the base density, that's the main limiting factor. But, if we're looking at things like the parking takes up a lot of space. A 2-car thing, let's see, hold on.
They're all gonna ride bikes and transit.
They are.
All of them.
Now, are you not expecting lots of neighbors to not be fans of this? Because
Well,
I think a lot of these people are not gonna want a duplex next door.
that's the thing is that you
Right
create
there they
these that
would.
they don't.
There's they don't even have any residents. They've got 1 resident on the right-hand side. I don't think there's anybody in the back.
Well, what's interesting about this design, it doesn't look like it's
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's a duplex.
Looks like it's a single house.
It looks, it fits in.
I mean, they were finding flag lots like 5 years ago, right? Like, and this is a big jump from that, right?
It's not that big of a jump. What you'll
I mean,
notice.
they're bigger buildings, there's construction going on, there's
Sure.
demo.
Yeah, and I think what you'll see most of the time is that the public really cares about what it looks like, not necessarily what's happening. Because
Can you go to the flag lot? So what about a flag lot? So put,
I like it,
Instead
don't
of-
get me wrong.
instead
I'm
of
just-
one, I mean, most of those flag lots have pretty significant homes on them versus a duplex or a quadplex
yeah,
on a flag lot.
I mean this goes to exactly what Ned was saying, becomes a gated community. There's a flag lot right there. You can't. Yeah. That's their driveway, and then I think you have a house back there
They don't
somewhere.
really have a yard.
Yeah,
You show the aerial.
you know how hard it is. Showing it. It's very difficult. These maps are not cooperating this evening.
Oh, right there.
Here we go. It's this guy.
Right there. Yeah. There's, yeah, that's,
They're all over.
Yeah, that's in my neighborhood now too, last few years.
I think so.
But they're houses.
What we have to be
Giant
careful of
houses.
is right now, I'm working purely on the RM zones. So a flag lot, like, think of the
Think
flag
of that.
lots.
You can put a sixplex back there and you've got one neighbor.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, 30 feet high. It could be 2-floor.
Sure.
Well, I think, Zach, you make a good point. It's, I think how things look too, the aesthetics of it, which I've always, before I got on the commission, I was always concerned about how things looked. And I would get rebuffed on that commentary because they said, well, we're not about how things look. And that was a big issue 10, 15 years ago about Block 1, like what is it gonna look like?
Right.
And they said, well, that's not part of the code,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know if that's improved where we can talk about the look. Because a sixplex that looks like a concrete stucco, it looks like an apartment house is a different deal than
That
one
3D
that has.
right?
Yeah.
That looks pretty
Has some
good.
texture
I
to
haven't
it.
used it in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Little Star Fox back there.
So,
I mean, I think
Sounds
we
good
can put
throwback.
architectural requirements in there, but we can't say it,
It doesn't allow us to do that.
right?
so the state does not allow us to put specific architectural standards on 1 and 2 family dwellings.
Okay.
Design standards. But we still have the authority for massing, so height, setbacks, things like that. And this is part of my in-depth analysis, right, is we can put like a maximum on things. So a maximum width, a maximum depth. That's gonna give you the form that you want. That's how you get there, is by having minimums and sometimes maximums. I don't know if we'll be able to do a lot of the maximums, but it's a potential.
I like this initiative, Zach, and I appreciate you doing it, because I can envision some of those buildings and ones that you showed us, they're gonna wear out 10 to 20 years. Somebody's gonna come in there enterprising and say, let's clear this out, we can
Very
really
forward.
update this.
Well, you saw it. They had double wide driveways on both
You had a picture
sides
of our
of
neighborhood,
that
so as you said, it's a dark green?
property.
It's like
Yeah,
the
do you
gray.
want your
right?
neighborhood? It's
No,
this.
sorry, which zones are being affected over there?
All the RMs.
All the RMs.
Yeah, so anything
So
that
you said
starts
they're the brown ones?
Yep, brown.
Only those?
Yep,
So can you go show me like where an RM 15 is?
right.
Right there.
So my only concern, well, not only, I got a few, but one of my concerns is if we're increasing density in these areas, these are like business deserts. Like, there's no food, there's no, like, if you're gonna bring more people to my neighborhood, there's nothing, there's nowhere to go in my
So,
neighborhood.
Let me clarify. This is not changing a single property zoning district. So we are not changing the zoning of anything. So
In the zone.
we're changing the standards in the zone. So this is going to be effective of things that currently exist, in the RM zone.
I mean, but the goal is to encourage deeper development, right?
So what we would do is get the framework, the standards in the right place, right? And then I think, and once we have the city council and you guys kind of talk through that on these standards, then hopefully we can start to apply, we can start to open up to more applications for rezones, and things like that, where we would look at, is this the right place for an RM zone? You know, because like, that house probably isn't a great place for an RM zone, right? It's in the very middle of a single family established neighborhood. But is maybe these 3 homes. It's on a larger collector road, right?
So I might be derping hard. Are we talking about rezoning individual lots here or individual zones?
So I will show you what we're talking about.
So I still don't quite understand what we're trying to do.
So what
So
we're
these are
doing-
existing residential multifamily areas, right?
Yeah,
So we're
so-
not changing it.
It's the text of the code that we're looking at. It's the whole writ large text of the code. So right now, what I'm proposing to do, I'm taking all 5 zones, the R210, RM10, 15, 20, 25, and I'm making them one chapter. So this is kind of just my working document. Sneak peek. So don't.
Combining those 5 into just one.
I like spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah, so because if you look at these the different zoning districts, the RM 10, 15, 20, and 25, the only difference they had really pretty much was their density. They had the same setbacks, same, parking requirements, same stuff. Why restate that over and over and over?
Yes.
So I've already started creating a table, right? So here's your RM10, for example. Your base
This is what it currently is, or this is what you're gonna propose.
This is what I'm proposing.
Yeah.
So don't look too close into this because there is quite a bit of change. So like, right now, there's no minimum lot width for an RM zone. You don't have to have one. I'm proposing one.
So that would address the spacing between buildings.
No, that would just be how much space you need along a road for that lot to be. So I'll just kind of give you an idea of what I was thinking. So in every single one of these zones, R210 through RM25, to build a single family home, if you have an RM zone or a property and you want to build a single family home, you have to have 8,000 square feet. Doesn't matter if you're in an RM25 or an R210. I think that's silly. It's because technically, let's say you're in an RM25 where you can have 22 units per acre, which comes out to 43,560 divided by 22, 1,980 square foot per unit. Lot, yeah, but you would still need 8,000 for a single family. So I'm proposing bringing that down to 4,000. That's a small lot, single family lot. It's smaller than anything we have in Murray, but this also works towards the state's goals of doing additional small lot, single family.
So what size, what would the square footage estimated on the 4,000 square foot lot be? Of the house itself, the single family?
It depends.
1,200 square feet?
No, not necessarily. So if you take, it depends on what the dimensions are, right? Because let's see, you have a 50-foot. Oh man.
Do we have heights requirements on these?
Yes.
Or maximums, I guess? Because you could get pretty creative with that.
You can, yeah.
You could get pretty creative and get a decent sized home.
Down, maximize the lot
It's a little skinny, but.
So let me show an example.
The silo house.
Yeah. like they did in Europe in the old cities.
Oh, yeah.
They make these towers,
Oh, yeah.
and they live
Floors.
upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
So
Grandma
there's
lives
this
up on
property
top.
right here. It's a single family.
She
Oh,
never
we're up in
comes
the
down.
attic.
No ADA in those places, I know. Yeah.
It still works though. Okay, so this is one home
Yeah.
in a multifamily zone.
Yes,
It's half an acre
yeah,
in size.
right.
So right now, they have one home, half an acre, that's 2 units per acre. So 0.49 times 7, they
It's on
technically,
the National Historic List, so you're not taking that one.
sure you can. National Historic List doesn't mean anything.
We just leave a plaque.
Just leave the flag.
Exactly.
It was here.
So you could put 3 units on there today, but
3 single family units is what you're
Three-
saying, and
three
not
uni-
4,000 square
Oh,
feet.
I lied, hold on. 0.49 times 12. You can put 6 units on.
I thought 4,000 square foot, like with your proposal.
Well, as it is today.
Oh, current.
Current.
That's with 8,000 square feet.
That's with that
per lot.
8,000, so you could double that potentially.
No, so if we take 0.49 times 43,560 and then divide by 4,000, you get five single family lots.
Or that case there, they could put up a multifamily, 'cause it's already
Yeah, or
Or
zoned.
you could multifamily
They could
into
build
this well.
cottages, they could do a lot of
Six.
different things.
6.
For the multifamily.
Because they can do.
Well, because it's a
Well, it's a
half.
half acre, so
Oh,
it's
okay,
just
got it, it's not.
12
Okay, so it's, yes.
So wouldn't it, the 50 feet frontage?
just the property, yes,
Okay.
yep. So that's just an
Interesting,
example,
okay.
right? So that's getting closer to, as opposed to right now at 0.49, you get 3. So it's 2 additional houses. It doesn't seem like a lot, and it's not supposed to feel like a lot, right? There's another term for this, and it's called gentle density. It's where you're not going from single-family homes to huge high-rises.
Right.
Because cities, and this is my personal opinion, cities shouldn't do that. It's bad. They should grow incrementally over time.
And allow for development as the markets and the
Sure.
demographics change.
Yeah, and that's how they should grow, is slowly. And what zoning kind of does, and what it's been critiqued as doing, is freezing everything in a time,
Yeah.
at a point in time.
Right.
And so how can we allow for some of that?
So I wanted to
Slowly grow.
just rewind a little bit. The beginning of this conversation was there's a moratorium on multifamilies, which is why we're in this discussion now, right?
Correct.
To make a recommendation for what we ought to do. Now, the question I have for you is, you put a slide up about issues, I think like building space and so on and so forth. I can anticipate that your good works and your intentions, there's a lot of different consequences to anything that we try to do. So I guess my point is making sure that any rewrite or suggestions gets linked back to those original problems. And that we're actually going in a direction where we intended, because people are very clever about how they develop around these things. What you think you're going in this direction, but it actually had some adverse.
Funny you mentioned.
Well, here, let me add
Here's
this dumb question. So you've got a duplex, 2 houses, however, they're adjoined. What about 4 townhouses? They're all adjoined.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing?
No, because they're 4. They're 4, not 2.
Okay, so make it a 4-plex.
Yeah, so it's a 4-plex.
And that's 4 townhouses next to each other.
And they may have a common breezeway or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I guess I live in a fourplex.
Well, and that's where I was going with your comment, Peter, is there's all sorts of ways to, well, yeah, they're all connected. They're townhouses, they're all connected.
So, Zach, are you planning on, I mean, I can tell you, you're already started on this. Is your plan to put this together and then present us something that says, here's what it was, and here's what it is, and here's how it changes?
Yes.
Okay.
So what today was to kind of give you the idea, right? I'm on a time frame, so those moratoriums are 180 days.
When does it start?
April 21st.
What was
So already a month past.
Yes.
Can you tell us what was the purpose of the moratorium? Like, I understand we want to change this, but what was the purpose of the moratorium?
Yeah.
Is it to give you breathing room to get it done?
Yes.
I mean, but what
Or was
was
like-
happening that we were afraid that we had?
Yeah, were we being overwhelmed by applications for multifamilies and?
There were a number of.
Just say it.
I can't.
Just say it.
So-
We know what you're gonna say, but you're not gonna say it.
He'll yell at me.
Should I say
Paying
it for you?
attention now.
Yeah,
I know, say it for you.
Okay, no, so what it was is we were getting a number of inquiries across a multitude of properties. I can say, for example, this one I can say, there's church closings, things of
We
that
talked
nature.
about that before,
Yeah,
yes.
and-
That was my thought.
And so what we want to do is make sure that, so that we don't want to have a bad project come forward, and because our standards aren't in a good place, we have to approve it, right? We
And
would
then it sets a
rather-
precedent for more bad projects.
Exactly,
Were
so,
any of the churches in RM zone property, they were all R1 8s and 10s, right? Tens.
yes,
Okay.
but there's a lot going on there.
But let's say that was one of them.
Sure, and
But
so,
they could apply to change
yes.
to an
We're
RM,
locked in.
Well,
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because some of these, yeah.
And then they'd be held to the current standards that we have that we might
So we're
not.
hoping
give
by
us the project
redoing
for.
this during the moratorium time, we can come up with a better zone that will allow a better project to come forward to the city.
That can anticipate what we think might happen.
Right.
Because it would also address the redevelopment of existing older places.
RM
RM properties where somebody has some imagination to do other things
Right.
that is beyond what we.
That is what we're hoping about, right? The
That is, yes.
rezoning of RM properties.
So it's weird, it's nuanced, so it's not rezoning them.
I mean,
it's
not, sorry.
changing- Yeah, it's
Just
changing.
Rewriting?
It's revision, it's a revision.
Redevelopment of the art.
Yeah, redevelopment of RM properties, and just kind of bringing it more, trying to tailor the standards to what the city wants to accomplish.
This was asked earlier, I think, but the idea is not then to, once we have this new RM zone, to then go and try to apply that elsewhere in the city, or is that?
It could, it depends on what it looks like, right?
We're just talking about the RM zones.
Right now, we're just talking about RM zones. I do have a desire to go to the R1 zones and tweak
Okay.
those a bit.
What about the
That's-
R2? Is R2 and RM gonna be combined into one?
No, so so they will all be combined so the way it's in your zoning code right now, there's like 5 chapters that say R210.
Yes.
So all of it's gonna be condensed into one chapter, but,
RM and the R2.
yeah, so you can see it right here, right?
Residential multifamily.
Yeah, so it'll have a title like, I had it in a different one, like,
There, but you're saying it will still be an R28 zone.
R210, yes.
Or
So-
R210
So all
zone.
those zoning districts will still apply, as you can see on here. All those zoning districts will still apply and still exist, just as they are today. But
Okay.
it's streamlining the documents so
Yeah.
that a developer can go, oh, I'm in an
Yes.
RM20 zone.
Let's just be
what
one
is
chapter with all of these, with basically just the.
And then the fixes as well.
The density is basically.
Yeah, and then you can also at a glance, like, it's gonna make your guys' job easier too, right? So when you guys, are looking at a rezone.
Sure,
And
here's
it's
the
like,
difference.
what's the difference between an RM15 and RM20? Okay, well, right here, here's your max bonus density, here's your lot widths, here's your front yard setbacks.
Yeah.
It gives everything at a glance.
Okay, I can make a suggestion,
Yes.
make a suggestion to you, Zach. You can take it or leave it. I hope you take it, but is that you just make it very clear the situation and the problems and opportunities, and then you link any of the thinking to that.
Yep.
Because that's what I'm keep trying to, the first slide to, okay, where are we going with this?
Yep.
And then the other question I have is,
how many housing units, say, over the next generation, 10 to 20 years, do you think Murray needs? Any forecast of that?
Needs is a loaded word.
Yes.
But this is gonna create more housing units, right? So I think that's a positive, better than reacting, proactively being prepared to do that. I mean, I think our population's been relatively steady, around 50,000. For
Murray's
Murray
no.
City, it hasn't really changed that much, even including the annex, which I was surprised by, because the whole state has grown so much.
So I think, so I can say statewide that between 2020 and 2050, I think we'll double in population.
I've heard that, yeah.
So where are they gonna go, right? And so it's not necessarily how much does Murray need, but what's the capacity that can be held? And I can't answer any of that right now. And what will the market bear and what will the community take? You have to take into consideration that, there's, if cities don't continue to evolve and grow, there's a great Venn diagram that, is it Venn diagram that are circles?
Yes.
Yeah.
For the intersection.
That,
Supply, demand, and then the sweet spot.
I think when I was looking for that, I think the reason why Murray hasn't grown compared to cities outside of Murray is a lot of Murray had large families that have shrunk, and we have no property. There's
Yeah.
no place to develop in Murray. I mean, I just shouldn't say there's no place. There's places because we're looking at them. But compared to
It's all
other
infill,
cities,
yeah.
there's tons of land.
Right, well, there was sort of more green space when you go south of us, right? For a long time, Draper, Sandy, all these places.
Yeah.
here's the classic, this is what cities, how cities exist. So that's what we are constantly trying to balance.
Right.
Yeah. So you can't have low density, you can't have stable services, and you can't have low taxes.
But if this is done correctly, the advantage, if we actually create the incentive, we will have lower rise kind of constructions with improved density, but kind of a quality that looks more like the community rather than these high rise things and the TOD,
Right.
direction that.
Where there is a
there is a place for that, yes, but not be overwhelmed by it.
Correct. So I mean, that goes back to, so without getting too high of density, I think that's what's important, right? Is finding that blue and red overlap.
Yeah.
Because Murray is known for having very stable services and pretty low relative stuff.
Yeah.
You're seeing that, I mean, you can see that, I'm getting off on a tangent, but you can see that in every budget cycle. There's always an increase, a little bit of an increase every single time. Those will gradually get higher and a bigger percentage if we are not continuing to reinvest in the city. And that's gonna mess with taxes, so.
That project that we approved today, this will be interesting to see if we have more like that. Because that seems to address a number of issues.
Are you thinking, Zach, that you're going to only increase the density by these incentives?
So, right now, yes. I'm not gonna go hog wild and say, oh, let's change the RM10 zone to RM50.
Yeah, okay.
So, this is largely what we're starting at is keeping everything as close to the same as we can, but also allow for greater flexibility. So, because right now, you guys as the commission and the council recognize that, or at least I hope you guys recognize that when you look at a zone change and it's an RM15, they could get up to 15 units per acre, and you're anticipating that. So we're planning for that, that's what we're planned for. It's not being utilized.
Yeah.
So
And if it is gonna be utilized, we'd like it to be utilized in the right
way.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense.
So,
Because that's gonna be the next development.
were there any? So that's kind of my thing. Are there any other thoughts or questions that you guys?
Was this helpful to you? This interrogation?
Yes, it is. And like I said, most of this is kind of giving you information and kind of soliciting just a lot of
Yeah.
raw feedback. As you know, it's kind of different than where we're asking specific questions. This one is, because most of you didn't even know there was a moratorium until tonight. Peter only found out because he was at council the other night. So this is kind of giving you more information.
Well, it's good we're taking a pause. I think,
We don't get a lot of multifamily projects, but
But I can envision that, like these older properties that have been around for 40, 50 years, I think some of them there's gonna be a wave of consolidations and redevelopment, and we wanna be ready for that.
one thing I'll point out, you guys can kind of see that I've already done this. So I put in like a setback from single family, right? Where even though it might be in a side yard, I didn't stipulate. It's like, so your side yard, right, maybe 8 or 5 feet. But if that side yard is next to a single family zone, you're automatically 25 feet away. And, or same with like building height. I haven't latched onto this one too much yet, but if you're right next to, if you're trying to do a multifamily project and you're next to single family, you're capped at 25 feet.
So-
At least adjacent. I'm probably gonna do a measurement at that, like, not the whole project is capped.
So what's the process? Are you gonna work on this some more, then we're gonna discuss it?
Yep, so
Then we
I
approve, then it
have,
goes to council, or do we have to have major public hearings on this too?
You guys are the public hearing.
No, I know, but not like what we did with Block 1, where we had all these open house things. That wouldn't be
so,
necessary.
my goal, I have a critical path with delay built in. So, or planned for. So my plan is to have this at the July 16th public hearing.
Through the commission.
For the commission.
Okay.
Yes.
July 16th.
Yes.
Okay, but you'll have something for us to
Oh,
look at
for sure.
before that.
Yeah, I should have another.
So to have public hearing for the finalized by then? Okay.
And then it goes to city council.
Then it goes to city council. So my adoption for city council is September 1st.
So are you going to give us a draft well before that, or are you gonna hand us a finalized version?
I'm hoping to, I will have another discussion, probably at the second meeting in June.
We'll have it like this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Cause I think it'd be good if you had, here's I'm 90% there.
Yep.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
If we do have
I
any
get to rely on
good
these
constructive
two.
feedback,
The
that you
land use
can.
table, that's
yeah.
what-
Yeah, the land use table, because the land use table is also, so this text amendment will create the land use table.
This will be the
Because-
first part of it.
Yeah, because I'm gonna have a residential section of that, and then we'll amend it to implement the commercial ones into it. But because of the moratorium, this needs to move first.
Okay.
Yeah, but my goal is still to have the land use table done by the end of the year at max. So,
Keep
We have a lot of
yourself
work.
busy over there.
yeah.
Good, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Informative.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot.
Good work.
I'm locking myself in an office and they're taking care of
There's a
it.
sign outside the door.
Not disturbed.
Was this your initiative, or did somebody want you to do this?
It was more mine.
Well, good for you.
Mine and Chad to do the.
I'm impressed, because you could very easily not bother yourself with it.
I appreciate it.
I have a lot of passion for.
That's great. Oh, I think that's really good, because I think it will address, depending on how it's all written, it will address a very flexible but productive future for development.
I hope so.
Ahead of it being demanded.
Yeah. Rather than reacting, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm done for now unless you guys have things. Like I said, please pay attention to your surroundings.
Heads up,
Yeah,
notice level, danger everywhere.
Yeah, look at, pay attention to the houses around you. If you see things you like.
That was good to see those examples, because I'll now take a closer look at some of those.
Write them down, bring them in, take a picture. Yeah, take a picture, you can text them to me, you can do whatever. So, the more input and feedback I can get from you, just don't send it to all of us, because that's ex parte communications. You can talk to me individually,
Okay.
but not amongst yourselves.
Send it to everybody.
I just thought of something, I know we're almost done, but, with, this rise in tiny homes and everything, what about in an RM zone, can I put a tiny mobile home?
No.
Or does it have to be foundation?
Foundation.
Okay,
Tiny foundation.
yeah, that's fine.
Tiny foundation.
Yep.
Tiny.
All right, are we adjourned?
25 of them.
Motion to adjourn?
No.
We wouldn't have to do that?
Do you have anything else?
I have nothing else.
Alright, so I do for Katie. I'm not gonna be here next, meeting on the 4th,
I won't be here.
and I may not be here on the 18th, but I'll let you know.
Okay.
But definitely not on the 4th.
Okay.
4th, now you can
During
throw
old
Peter.
June?
You're talking about June.
I got you.
What did I say?
Related.
June 4th and 18th.
June 4th and 18th.
June 4th.
Oh, no, I'll be out too.
Maybe I'll be here on the 18th, I'm not sure yet.
I should be here.
On the 4th?
4th, yeah, sorry.
Hey, no one else come in.
4th of June, right?
That's the first week of summer,
4,000, no, it's June.
after school's out. Party,
Sounds like a Phineas and Ferb song.
right?
Alright, any other business?
Nope.
Motion?
Oh, motion to adjourn, Chair.
I'll second.
8:15.
Adjourn.
Hey, Zach, can I ask you a question?
Thank you all.